seconds.
Now comes the part where we throw our heads back and laugh. Ready?
Ready!
Welcome to Nevermind the Furthermore, your morning dose of creative conversation and coffee with your host, Brian K. Morris, independent publisher, freelance hybrid author, award-winning playwright, Facebook famous YouTuber, and former mortician's assistant. Get ready to start your day off right.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Nevermind the Furthermore for Monday, September 27th, 2021. And it's feeling like a Monday. We had a long weekend, but it was a great one. Hope your weekend went well, too. But anyway, we are glad to have you here, and we've got a special guest coming on, Mr. John Celestri, who is a great animator, is doing a fantastic comic book, Bloodwing Angel, and a fellow coffee drinker, so we know we're going to have some common ground here. And so anyway, let's get started on the attitude of gratitude that we should start every day with. And the first person we're going to thank, of course, is our sponsor, Plasma Fire Graphics. Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you. When you put your heart and soul into your book, you want a cover that'll help sell it. You want graphics that you can pop onto social media and help promote your book. You may even want a groovy trailer like you just saw. Well, then you need to talk to Jeffrey Hayes at Plasma Fire Graphics. He can do all that and more at very, very, very affordable independent creator rates. So check him out. Check out his Facebook page. Also check out plasmafiregraphics.com, and you can contact him directly there for his rates. So please check him out. He is fantastic and easy to work with. Jeffrey Hayes at Plasma Fire Graphics. When the look of your book matters to you, because it matters to your readers a whole lot. And also what matters to our audience is the Rising Tide Broadcast Network. Please join our Facebook page and check out our schedule. It's going to change in October. We're going to be changing in, bringing in some new shows, including the Dastardly Dingoes, the first Tuesday of October. We're really excited to get Brian, Chad, and Jeremy onto the network here, and you are going to love them. They are funny. They are insightful. They're everything a podcast should be. So anyway, please check them out on the first Tuesday of October. Plus, we've got Michaela Jade's Morning Motivationals every weekday. And tonight at 7 p.m., she's going to have her tidbits and scribbles. She's going to teach you how to level up in your creative game here, how you can maybe go full time doing what you love to do. So please check her out tonight. She is amazing. And also check out tomorrow night's Clever Title Pending at 8 p.m. where we're going to talk about why it's going to be the last episode. And then, but we're going to have Ted Davies on TED Talks at 10 in the morning. You don't want to miss that either. All kinds of good programming for the Rising Tide Broadcast Network. Also, check out our Patreon page. Patreon is a monthly subscription service where you can directly contribute to your favorite creators and inspire them and give them an attaboy or attagirl. And in exchange, you get all kinds of cool stuff that they'll do for you. And these people on the screen that you see here, who are my Patreon subscribers, will also get stuff. And they have their own Patreon pages, so check them out too. So if you want to see your name on this card, check us out at Patreon. www.patreon.com/Brian K. Morris. And I am so excited because we've got a good guy here, and we're going to get to your comments this morning. We're going to do selective comments this morning, but please put in your promotions. We may not read them all, but at least they'll be here for people to read. But we've got the one, the only, Mr. John Celestri. We're really excited. Let me unmute you, John, so everyone can hear your dulcet tones. Good morning, John. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm very good. Hope you're doing well too, Brian.
So far, so good. I have coffee. We'll make sure you get a break so you can get
Mhm.
more. Hopefully, I'll tell my wife to just come in and bring us both some coffee. That's what I
Oh, thank you.
yeah, yeah, maybe a few days before she can walk out there. But anyway, John, so pleased to have you here. And please, for the one or two people who may not know who you are, I'm going to give you the spotlight here, just like we're on American Bandstand.
Oh,
And
geez.
it was the spotlight dance. And John, tell everybody who you are and why you are so amazing.
Ooh, okay. Well, I've been an animator, comic book artist since the early 1970s. I animated Boba Fett in the Star Wars Holiday Special. I worked on the original He-Man and She-Ra series, Dragon's Lair, and Space Ace laser arcade laser games. Worked on Rock and Rule, which is kind of like the Rocky Horror Picture Show of animation back in the early '80s. What else do I need to? Oh, I did a whole bunch of Batman commercials for Zellers, which seem to be flying around the internet on YouTube. And I've also done comic books. I've got my own line of comic books and characters that range from Snuffy and Zoe's Toy Box Adventures through Mega Moose, the amazing Mega Moose Adventure comics, and then also more adult, mature comics in terms of just for people who are, I don't know, you want to do a little thinking, but you're kind of like your heavy metal. Remember a heavy metal magazine?
Yeah.
That's the kind of comic book that Bloodwing Angel Chronicles is. In fact, it harkens back to the old underground comics of the 1960s. And so that's what I'm working on now. And I've got pardon my memory loss here.
It's early, John.
What?
It's early, John. We understand.
Yeah. Well, it's also I've got my pre-launch page for a book 2 of Bloodwing Angel comics and the Chronicles. And if you sign up and actually get support me with a physical perk, then you'll get a 12-page ashcan comic which explains samples of my creative process, rough sketches, rough pages, actually draw some of the script pages also. So you'll get to see that. So anyway, that's it. That's what I got.
That's fantastic, really. We were talking about process before the show here about how John is now coming from the analog world into the digital. That you're now working with digital means, Photoshop, basically, right?
Well, no, I'm using Clip Studio Paint.
Okay,
yeah, which is a much more all conducive, all working. But I do have I don't use all the stuff that Clip Studio Paint does, but it also doesn't do what I like to do. So I've got older programs like Toon Boom Studio that goes back to, this version is 4.5, and I've got that in 2009.
Well, that's the thing. I've talked to people that have in comics that use electronics, and they'll keep like 5 or 6 versions of the same program, like Photoshop, because inevitably they will say, "Hey, we're giving you this feature, but they don't tell you we're yanking this other one out." And when you get reliant upon that thing they're pulling out, you keep the old program, and so they have to switch between versions of Photoshop to get what they need done.
And also different computers, because a lot of the programs don't work with newer computers, so therefore you have to have several different things. Like I still have a Power Mac from 2006, 2007, because that's the program that's the one that my Photoshop 5.5 works with.
Yeah, I get it.
So there's you don't throw away a tool that can use. And I think a lot of it is they say, well, I want things to go faster. Well, faster doesn't mean better.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a process. If you have to go through stages of production that slow you down,
Right.
that gives you a chance to, if you're concentrating and focusing, catching mistakes.
That's true. That's true.
You know,
Well, yeah,
be
and
zen about it.
yeah, no. Somebody should write a book about this sort of thing. The kind of mindset you need, to be a creative artist and this sort of thing,
Mhm.
because there's such a difference between sitting at your console, like, okay, I've got to now get out of this program, get into the other, upload the thing. Whereas before, like 20 years ago, it was a table, a light, a piece of paper, a bottle of ink, and a brush.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
maybe a crow quill, but
Yes, absolutely. Oh, yeah. I still have those. I still
yeah,
have my pens and brushes.
I still have an Ames lettering guide. Okay. And I know how to work it too. I used to be a decent letterer before
Oh,
before
okay.
my signature turned into a seismograph chart. So yeah, I get it. So folks, if you have questions for John, this is a golden opportunity for you to ask about process and his great comic, which I endorse, Bloodwing Angel. That's a good book. And we're going to say hello real fast to some people. Good morning, Teresa Dunn. Glad you're here. Historical Fencing Guild. Happy Monday. Can't trust that day. And rep the Rising Tide at Freak Out at the Fowler in Fowler, Indiana. Despite issues, is glad to be back in the sail saddle. And Carl Wisman, good morning to you. And sorry you couldn't make it out there. Sorry you couldn't make it to NonCon. And thank you to Jason and Keith and everyone at NonCon in Middletown, Ohio, for hosting us. And we took a lot of your love with us, and probably whatever was growing on the ceiling. Anyways, but it was a good time. A real good time. And we just have our first comment dump, John. That's how everybody wants to get to you here. So yeah, we're gonna just try to acknowledge people and the historic, and glad we'll be talk to us about that later, would you please, Nicholas Tockard, who is also on Friday nights on the Historical Fencing Guild, the Rising Tide Broadcast Network, and surprisingly polite researchers in Goth attires with at least a friendly attachment rocking your spirit boxes, who appreciate my Hawaiian anti-goth in a good way, interest me. And good morning, Skunk Rocker. And I keep forgetting my sunglasses because I leave for work, it's dark, and I don't think about them. Hashtag, we were talking about this before the show, hashtag real world problems. And they always end up on my way out of the stops having to stop at Walgreens to buy a new pair of sunglasses. I've got like 30 pairs at home, but it must be like Elton John's back room. And good morning to Ace Bonnie. What do you call an apple that plays the trumpet? A tutti frutti. Oh, and let's see here. And Carl Witzman, he's advising Skunk. And good morning, Sarah. Well, I won't be talking much because I'm getting ready to go to Toontown. Matt Toon, love you too, hun. Love you too. And yes, it's always showtime. Good morning to Willow Schuyler. Check out Cryptid Crunch on the back of the Zero Box Network and Hanging with Web Show. Willow's Pillow Talk. Willow's Pillow Talk. Hold on. And good evening to you, and glad you're here. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's going to turn into a Three Stooges routine here any minute now. And Michaela is off to the day job, hacking away, or off work today. Good deal, Michaela. Mwah. Check out Michaela tonight, 7 p.m. on Tidbits and Scribbles. Check her out every weekday morning at 7 o'clock, which is too early for decent people. But anyway, she's on the Rising Tide Network, and she's wonderful. And so is Pops saying good morning to you, Pops. Good to see you here. And you just finished work. We're just starting ours. Welcome to my job for the next 2 hours. And anyway, Will Schuyler says 2 likes and 1 dislike on the show. You know what you need to do. I have somebody that thinks it's funny to put a dislike on the show. How could anyone dislike John Celestri? You commie bedwetting.
For me? What?
No. It wasn't for you. It's for me. I've got a hater. So anyway, but take that off because it's John. Okay. Anyway, Ted Davies Archery, glad to have you here. Good morning, all. Thank you for the support. Retrieve is officially sold out of first printing, second printings with variant covers coming soon. That's fantastic. Good for you. And let's see. I wore out those BK CKM this last weekend. I will be running yours at the end of the show, Pops. Thank you so much. And Lurker Mode engaged for Cindy Catholic City, CKOEPP.com. Check out our newsletter. The new issue just came out, and it's fantastic. Brian Rodman, good morning, my fellow Brian Nevermords. I'm working on about 4 hours of sleep, so here's hoping I can make it through. I have no idea what he's talking about. Let's see. Here we go. And I can't be one of Michaela's Mercs and wimp out at 10 p.m. That's right, my God. And hello, John Celestri. I'm glad someone's talking to you now, John. I wouldn't have chatted so much knowing you were coming on. I've only told everyone. Gosh. That's okay. That's okay. Historical Fencing Guild Friday nights at 8 p.m. on the Rising Tide Broadcast Network. And a marvelous Monday morning to John Celestri and a mischievous man in the fez and all the magical Monday mornings. Count your blessings because that's what you're supposed to do. Thank you, Bill Sarn. Artwork of Bill Sarn, Sarnard76 on Facebook. And Grant Lankard, good morning, guys. I hope everyone is having a wonderful morning. And Brian Robin says, well, if it isn't my friend Jay Selly and this epic mustache, my beard wants to grow up to be like that mustache. I was admiring it. That's a work of art, John. How long? Now I've got to ask, as a former facial hair wearer, how long did it take you to grow and train that mustache?
Well, I had, let's see, the first time I grew a mustache was about the last century. In 1969.
Oh, yeah.
I had one of those walrus mustaches, and then it grew into a beard, and then when I got into animation, it was getting too much. It was too hot and whatnot, so I shaved it off, and the mustache remained. But it still was more of a Tom Selleck kind of full mustache, and it wasn't until maybe about. Well, I didn't know about mustache wax until maybe about 1976, and that's when I started to train it.
Yeah.
And it's still, these you got to remember that these hairs are not the same. These are these hairs are the great hairs of the previous one, and that's their heritage.
It's an awesome heritage.
It's a thing into the once they come in, they grow, and I wax it every day. I use Lucky Tigers, but I don't like Lucky Tiger. I've used it for decades, for years and years. Now it's Sudden Death Comic. That's the name. Hold on a second. Wait.
Yeah, go for it, John. Yeah, you can now put Sudden Death on your lip, folks. Follow us for more life hacks.
Here you go. Let's see.
Okay. Yeah, Sudden Death. Yeah. John, you're a hell of a man to be able to put Sudden Death on your mustache.
Out of Colorado, and also Death Grip. I got those. It's Sudden Death and Death Grip.
That's right. Oh my God, if that isn't the comic book title, I don't know what is. I'm telling you. And Ted Davies Artistry, John, Boba Fett animator extraordinaire. Good to have you here, Ted. And check out TED Talks tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Time on the Rising Tide Broadcast Network. # always promote. And hello, Ryan Permisson. Check out all the stuff he does. And let's get to 750 subscribers by my birthday tomorrow. Yes. And after you subscribe to him, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, because if I hit 1,100 by the end of Halloween night, I will do a 12-hour edition of Nevermind the Furthermore the following Friday, because I have no idea what's seriously wrong with me. And from the desk of a small press publisher, Joe DeMcPhee, always a pleasure to have you here. Also a part of the Rising Tide Broadcast Network, 10 p.m. on Saturday nights. And good morning, all. It's BK and John Celestri, and not in that order. And Brian Rodman says, folks, we have 4 days until the launch of Memoirs of an Angel, issue 8. So while you're getting ready for Bloodwing Angel to come out, you check out this great book too. It's a horror fantasy epic that's like The Lord of the Rings meets The Exorcist with a smattering of Lovecraft. But better, I say. And head on over to that address there and be sure to be notified upon launch. Now, this is a great time to mention, you mentioned that you have, the next episode of Bloodwing Angel. Right. Describe Bloodwing Angel, if you would, please.
Obviously it's a fantasy element, but it's very much in the I don't know, in the theme or in the field of like heavy metal stuff. An innocent angel is just tossed out of the heavens, and and in process, because a promise was to protect this angel was broken. The universe is momentarily ripped apart and then re-stitched together, and not in the same way it was.
Mm-hmm.
So when the angel arrives, in on this earth, on the mortal realm, and is turned into both male and female in physical form, there's what is right, what is wrong, what do you do now? And that's the dilemma that Michael,
Mm-hmm.
the Bloodwing Angel, has to deal with. And
Yeah.
there's all kinds of issues that come about, but there's also a lot of fighting demons, fighting urges, doing all kinds of stuff going on, because you have a sympathetic protagonist who is both male and female. He is not all powerful. Angel power. She still has angel powers, but not in the same way. It's no longer can Michael flame have a flaming sword, but he does have a flaming finger. No, really.
Yeah, no. I'm laughing because I know it's true.
and a flaming fist, but that's about it.
Uh-huh.
Wings come out, but can't use the wings all the time because there's a lot of energy involved. So therefore, Michael is constantly having to eat, is always hungry, but is a thin little waif of a creature. But it burns up the energy like crazy. And so there's a lot that right there, if you're not enticed by just the concept there, I don't know what you're looking for, because it's not a superhero character, but the character has supernatural powers. And
yeah, there's a lot to unpack. I mean, I supported the first episode and loved it because you've got your charming artwork. It's beautifully, and you'd think it would be like a not a funny animal, but a funny title. And there's definitely humor in it.
Yeah.
I'm glad to say, because I dig that sort of thing. But there's a lot to unpack in that thing, and it really compels you to read it over and over again. So because it's like a good movie or a good book, you expose yourself to it again and again and again, and you get more from it. So, but it's not like you're sitting in high school again listening to the teacher explain Romeo and Juliet or anything. It's it's fun, it's lively, and it yields glorious results upon rereading. And I'm excited for the next installment. So we probably, John, if you have the link, put it in our private chat, and I will share it on this thing here.
Do. Okay.
And definitely use the Rising Tide publishing page to promote your stuff. Okay,
right.
Please
do. Okay.
Because we want to get some more eyeballs in front of that thing. So definitely. So after you actually, but Brian will understand. Before you pledge to Memoirs of an Angel, definitely check out John's work too. So, and let's see. Oh, we have a question from Joe D. McPhee. John, would you ever republish the 1 or 2 panel strip you did to highlight your career again?
Oh, well, let's see, but I've done several different things. It was the Mega Moose. I don't know if he's the original Mega Moose, which is from the 1980s.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's referring to that. I worked on that as a strip, and did that for about 12, 18 months. I did it as a weekly thing for an old comic. It was a magazine called what is it? I was going to say first watch. It wasn't that. It had political cartoons in it, and it was a reprint thing, a book. And so I did that for a while, but it was there was more political commentary. It was kind of a Rocky and Bullwinkle thing that I was doing back then. So I don't know if Joe's explaining, talking about that, but there is so much done. And back, I was 2 years ago, I published my rough sketch book, which gave an entire. It was 84 pages, trade paperback, and I did that one through as a crowdfunding book, and that has tons of stuff. The Boba Fett sketches, Batman and Robin sketches, the comic, the new, Bloodwing Angel goes back to my, animation of that Raggedy Ann and Andy, as I said, Batman. So that is that also. So there's so much to unpack there. I just don't know.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's cool. And Eric Hawkins, good morning to you, my friend. I hope your morning's going well. And Glenn B. Fleming, good to see you. Hello. Always a pleasure to have you here. And I have an Ames lettering guide and still use it, he says. So, yes, we're militant about the Ames lettering guide here, even more so than the Oxford comma. And hello, Keisha Acuff. Mwah, glad to see you here, beautiful. Brian Robin says, John, the real question is, when will you be joining the Rising Tide Broadcast Network?
You talk to the man here.
We aren't worthy, but John, we should talk. We would have you in a heartbeat. We really would. And the artwork of Bill Sarden, check out his artwork on Sarden Art 76. And I still need to get one, Glenn. Wow, if you have it's a good discipline to have. We talked, before the show about digital versus analog means of production. It's not a bad discipline to have, to be able to use a lettering guide. And when you think about classic, the classic comics that John grew up with, I grew up with, Joe, that you grew up with, those guys weren't like tapping it out on a computer till about 20 years ago. John Costanza, Ben Oda, Todd Klein, Sam Rosen, Artie Simek, John Costanza, all those guys were drawing the little light pencil lines and drawing in the letters, then inking over. And the thing is, it is drawing. You are drawing the letters. That is why I've come to appreciate lettering. The same way I do like penciling, inking, or coloring. But the thing is with the lettering, I've always heard it said, and I fully agree with it, unless you're looking for it and studying it, most people only really recognize lettering is when it's bad.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I lettered all my comics. I did that. You'd have. I didn't have the gauge. What I had was the older style. I mean, we're talking about from the. I would go and have a piece of paper, and I'd rule out each one, markings and so on with a T-square and working all that, so that then I would take that and then tape it onto the panel and start rulering that each one.
Wow.
That's the way it was done.
Yeah, that's true.
Right?
That's true.
And do that. But then you would have, it wouldn't be exactly, but when you reduce it down, because I'm always drawing from about 2 up, 2.5 up, down to that, so that the reduction works so that mistakes are alleviated or minimized. Yeah. So I do. I still letter all my sound effects.
Oh yeah, that's
by hand. That's a personality. It's your personality, and that's why so many comics look the same, because they're all using the same font, whether it be for text, but also for effects.
Yeah. Exactly right. Exactly right. Whereas you have somebody like Todd Klein, who was like the chief letterer at DC for so long. I think he scanned a lot of his like the big letters,
Hmm.
and scan them in for some effects. But some people just go to like Comic Craft or whatever, buy that, and they
Right. Yeah.
call it a day.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I fully agree. Molly Daniel says, "Good morning." Those stairs did me in yesterday. I slept in. Yeah, the school that we were at in the Pottstown Elementary School, very haunted school. It's built like a tesseract, or like an old MC Escher drawing. It's like
Hmm.
it's like you have like an impossibly long stairway one direction, and you turn the corner. There's a little short stairway, and it's like, yeah. I slept pretty well last night. Let's put it that way. And Damian Walbrun says, "Hello, Brian, John, and Nevermorians everywhere. Haters just mean you're doing it right." Exactly, exactly. Because we're doing what they can't do. So there. And definitely subscribe to Cindy Kep's newsletter, CKOEPB.com. John, I'm going to let you go get me some coffee too. And we did, yes, we had a lot of fun yesterday, Ryan. Hope your weekend went well too. And thank you, Cindy Kep, for the mention in your newsletter. And hello, Donna, Carly. Mwah. Oh, by the way, Carl Witzman will be doing this Friday's Nevermind the Furthermore, because I will be on my way to Cape Con in Cape Girardeau, Missouri, with a whole bunch of cool people. Check out cape-con.com. And thank you for signing up to be guests on it. I quote, BKM, put something in the water, and it's working, so thank you. And Glenby Fleming says, why are you not editing, Brian? I'm taking a break because I'm talking to my friend John. Glenn, don't be selfish with my time, okay? I'm working on something for Glenn, so he's probably like, okay, Brian, the show can end now. Get back to work. So anyway, the Historical Fencing Guild, Nicholas Tockert asks Mr. Celestri, what do you wish you understood as a new / aspiring artist? What do you wish you knew then that you know now?
Wow.
Or would that fill the rest of the show?
Yeah. There is so much, and I think I want to keep it positive. So
you can vent for one thing, John, if it'll make you feel better.
I would what I knew that what I have learned is that a lot of young people don't understand or have the intellectual curiosity to find out what went on before they were born, because we learned a lot of our stuff from the masters who were doing it before we were born.
Mm-hmm.
And today, if you can't, if it's not within their lifetime, it's not valid, because hey, it's old.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's knowledge. Knowledge is evergreen, and people don't understand that. So anyway, that's
good. That's good, because we stand on the shoulders of titans, as
Yeah.
I always say.
Mhm.
People like me as a writer, I'm working with what Will Shakespeare gave me, what Don Pendleton gave me, what Harlan Ellison gave me, Dr. Seuss, I'm working, or Stan Lee. I'm working with what those great people gave me, and doing what I can to add, hopefully positively, to the pile. And it's the same, just as people will study your work, or should study your work in animation, and use that to develop their own moxie in the medium. So yeah, I tell people about when I moved over here to Indiana 7 years ago. I got into an argument with a supermarket bagger, where he saw I have a Superman shield on my wrist, and he saw that and said, man, I wish they were doing Superman like he was originally, with the way John Byrne created him. That was my reaction. yeah, made my brain hurt too. And Heritage Hilarious.
There you go. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. And good morning to Lacey Lemke. Mwah. Good morning. Hope your weekend went well. And if you want to be a guest on And I Quote with Ryan Permison, check him out there. And you ought to talk to Mr. Celestri here because he's amazing. He is wonderful. And Willow Skyler says, John, I would love to thank you for your contribution to pop culture and being a huge part of my childhood. You helped shape me to become the nerd of well-drawn comic art and cartoons. So,
Well, you're very welcome.
yeah.
Thank you for the compliment.
That is a compliment indeed. Very cool. And check out Dope Bunny and Clive. Toy Bunny wreaks havoc on the life of Clyde and his friends, but it's all in good fun. Check out that YouTube channel with Lacey Lemke because she's amazing. And another comment dump here. We'll get back to it. And there we go. And Brian Rodman, ringing endorsement here. Folks, seriously, if you haven't checked out Bloodwing Angel, you really do need to do it ASAP. I harp so much on creators creating original content, and this is exactly that. What John has done not only gives us an original and beautiful story, but also a character who many people can relate to. From gender identity to struggles with life and faith, it's all there in an action-packed story that harkens back to late 80s animation in the best way. I could not have said it better than what Mr. Rodman said. Thank you, Brian, for that.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you very much.
Yeah, because when you were on Clever Title Pending not long ago, you mentioned that you had looked into the Bible. You'd gone to the source.
Yes.
Rather than the TV or movie versions of the Bible. No. It did the homework to create a richer environment for your character to work in. And it shows. I think that sort of research just has to come out in the work. So kudos to you, sir. Now, do you need to get more coffee?
Yeah, I think I got to get going and do that. And I will be back. So I'm just going to put my well, you can either take me out, and I'll just.
I'll take over the screen, and when I see you come back, I'll bring you back in. How's that sound?
Okay, great. That's good. Okay.
So take your time, John. Take your time.
Okay, we'll do. See you later.
Okay, I'm looking forward to it, John. Thank you. Okay. There we go. Okay. Yes, definitely. Look out for John the Animator comics. They are good things, and please check out that. In fact, I'm going to put in the thing right now, and I'm going to mute John so that he can say, how did I ever sign up for the show? What was I thinking? Anyway, check out this Indiegogo link here, and definitely sign up for it. Seriously, I so endorse this comic for what gravitas I have. Please do a screen capture. Please check this book out. Please search for it in Indiegogo, and I will be supporting the second phase of this Bloodwing Angel. It is seriously good stuff. I cannot tell you how much. And let's see. Oh, okay. I see your comment, Joe. We'll get to that, and we'll get to yours. And yeah, hand lettering is almost a lost art. In fact, Glenn, we could. John and I said we want to talk about it. He's now working digitally, as opposed to what you do so magnificently with pen and paper and all. And oh, by the way, Glenn, I'm up to page 19 out of 39. So we are going to cruise this week. And let's see. Yes, and one artist should look at others and learn, right? And Joe, get one. Yeah, seriously, it's a good discipline to have. Back when I did my own mini comics and what are now called ash cans, I did most of the lettering for the line. And there's a lot of subtle things that a letterer can do to help the artist guide the reader's eye. That I don't think some letterers pay attention to now, which I think contributes to some contemporary comics being a little hard to read. And let's see. And there we go. And yes, Facebook this Friday, it will be Facebook only. Sorry, YouTube friends. And Brian Rodman, we need to talk because I thought I forgot I will not be here Friday. So maybe you could talk to Carl about being on there. So you never know. But because this coming Friday is Brian Rodman's launch for Memoirs of an Angel number 8. And that's another book that is very, very, very rich in content. And y'all need to get that because it's fantastic. And let's see, here we go. And Anthony will read your comment. And that's great. Too many people don't know their history, nor do they know how important it is. Yeah, Michaela, it's all the people. And I say that as a writer, we are the sum of all the people we've ever read. So, like I'm Don Pendleton, Warren Murphy, Richard Sapir, Harlan Ellison, Stan Lee, Roy Thomas. I read James Patterson recently for the first time. I'm now James Patterson. Excuse me. So, we all are the sum of the people that we read, and that's why it's so important. If you're a comic creator, read comics. If you are a writer, read short stories, read novels, read the stuff. The better readers are, the more prolific, or the better writers I have found are the more prolific readers. So definitely, and check out Michaela J tonight at 7 p.m. for Tidbits and Scribbles. It's always a fantastic time. And Anthony Bavo, glad you're here, sir. I freaking love what he just said about knowledge is evergreen. That is striking and soulful. It's one of those maxims that, the simpler they are, sometimes the more powerful they are. That's why I love having this gentleman here. And Rising Tide Publications, please do not forget John Celestri's new book. Please sign up for that and get notification upon its beginning. And let's see. And Rebecca Westerman, mwah! Glad to see you here. Popping in to say hello. Don't forget to support Through the Tempest Black on Indiegogo. Definitely. Thank you, RG Westerman. And check out her recent episode of Clever Title Pending, which tomorrow night, don't forget, we will be on at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. Pardon me. I've got a cough from yesterday. So anyway, you'll be hearing that. It's frequently during the show, unfortunately. But anyway, please check it out. And, but anyway, check out RG Westerman's work on Amazon, because she's amazing. And check out her recent episode of Clever Title Pending. She was fantastic. Even when the lights went out, it was great. And Glenn Fleming has some good stuff here. As always, hand lettering forces a person to be aware of placement of the balloons and captions, and it also forces the scripter, I like how you put that in quotes, to employ word economy. Yes. And when I launch my world-dominating comics company, all art will need lettering right on the board. Jody McPhee, you are now on notice. And when I launched my world, okay, it's so nice. He said it twice. And did Brian inhale the mold? Carl, I think I did. My lungs, when I woke up this morning, felt like leather. So, but we had a good time. Thank you, Carl, for taking Nevermind the Furthermore this Friday. I'm looking forward to seeing what you do with it. And as always, an adventure. Love you, Rebecca. Hope you have a great week, hon. Good to see you as always. But yeah, it was a little funky in there, but that adds to the atmosphere. There were a lot of sightings, a lot of door slamming. You were definitely missed. Every time I said you couldn't make it, everybody's like, but we want to thank Molly Daniels and Nancy and Lynn and Paul and all of our new friends there, and all of our old friends like Scotty and Tina Marie, and of course Jason and Keith and everyone. We got to see a bonding ceremony, which was a lot of fun. It was beautiful. And we had a good time. We got a lot of things solved, and some cool stuff for the creative arm, the writing arm of the Rising Tide broadcast group. The tribe, as we like to call them. But anyway, please check out other shows that we have on the network. And let's see, I can vamp as long as John can't. He's still here. I'm going to go back and say, and sightings and door slamming. Funny how that didn't happen the day before when there weren't a lot of witnesses. Yeah. That's something. Well, of course, I saw. If you want to get metaphysical, Donna, and I'm sorry you weren't there, hon, but I totally understand. Everyone did. But no, we years ago, there was like a plethora of shows about sightings and everything like that, and a bunch of ghost hunters went in and found this one very friendly ghost. Hi, how you doing? I'm dead, and had a good interaction with the character. Then went back about 2 seasons later, and this thing had turned into a poltergeist. And I think it was the person who owned the property was kind of peeved at the Ghostbusters, kind of implying it's your fault. And they were like, well, why is he so angry? Why he was so nice before? And she said, how your show brought a lot of people to this property looking for them, and they're here all the time trying to see the ghosts. How would you feel if someone walked into your living room every weekend and started being noisy, tromping around, flashing things in your face? You'd be pissed off. And that's what happened to the spirits here. So, that can make like a series of good stories there about angry ghosts and how to placate them. And we got there too early. He didn't even know where the light switches were. Yeah. Well, when you consider it's like a year in between, it's like I've been there twice and I still don't know my way around. It's you think I would, be able to find my way through a small schoolhouse, but it didn't work. Anyway, actually, it's kind of their fault. The dead don't like to be bothered all the time, especially demanding the spirits do stuff on command. Yeah, it's not like they're trained seals or anything. These were living people, and a lot of the stuff you could say that it's like, I'm slamming the door, get out of here. You do it if somebody knocked on your door in a white shirt and a black tie and said, I'd like to discuss my faith with you. Even if you're on the same team, you're like, that's okay, thanks, move on. But it is totally their fault. And in a lot of ways, sometimes I feel a little guilty about going into these places when I think when I'm dead, I just like to be left alone. So my friends can call me, but other than that, that's it. I don't want a whole bunch of strangers with 5 and dime ghost finders roaming around. And Sarah is in Toontown and sitting in the parking lot. Time to watch people look at me weird for what I'm listening to. Well, we'll give them plenty to work with, Sarah. Sarah, mwah, glad to see you. Sorry I didn't talk much yesterday. No, actually, this was something else. Cookie and I are hating interstates. We're getting tired of interstates right now. And we took a route home. The trip should have taken us about 3 hours. It took us closer to 5. Well, one, we stopped for dinner at a really nice restaurant in Indianapolis that we like, or on the edge of Indianapolis. And we thought, let's get home without getting on the interstate from Southwest Ohio. And we managed. And in fact, the reason we did this was a couple of years ago, or actually last year when we went to NonCon. And again, thank you, Jason and Keith, for having us. You guys are my brothers. Anyway, and thank you for your great hospitality and help. Anyway, we got involved in a traffic jam where we sat still for over an hour. Nothing moved. 2 lanes of traffic backed up. I think according to Google, is about 10 miles. And we thought, we don't want that crap anymore. So we plotted a route that the only time we came in contact with an interstate was either passing under it or passing over it. And we went on I-70 near Route 109, I think it was, that we had figured out to go. And we saw another traffic jam at that same intersection. And if we had timed it right, we would have been caught the same way we were last time, beyond the exit. So anyway, and let's see, here we go. And John, I see you there, brother. I'm going to unmute you and bring you back, sir. I'm going to just get through the comments. We've got a few things for you that we'll backtrack to.
Okay.
And the ghost hunter, we're talking about ghost hunting and how would you feel if you were dead and people were tromping through your living room with all kinds of electronics asking you to perform like a trained SEAL,
I tell you, I feel strange even going back to Brooklyn and seeing the apartment building that I grew up in with other people in it.
Yeah,
because they're tapping all over my childhood dreams, and memories, and it's yeah. I've been a ghost.
I hear you every day. And Historical Fencing Guild says the ghost hunters are also so very often rude. That's why the nice folks I met at Freakout stuck out. And I know a joke about ghosts, says Glenn Fleming, but should probably refrain from sharing in this day and age. Carl Westman says, quit calling me. I'm trying to do my show. Never mind, I'm dead now. You mean I don't get out of it if I croak? Oh, God. What have I let myself in for? And that's why I don't communicate with my ancestor too often. I want to keep him protective. Definitely, definitely. And nailed about those who no longer have flesh suits, BKM. Thank you. And good morning, Rick Bradley. Always glad to see you. And just had to take a little Raziel in to get blood drawn for his jaundice test. They said to take it from his foot. Needless to say, he's not a fan. He's louder than Brian. Oh my God. Poor kid. And Rick just had a wee one recently. And many do ghost hunters to fulfill their adrenaline rush addictions. And good one, Carl says that's a small press publisher. And at this point, I am pretty much full on Betty White. I am rooting for the ghosts. Hope they haunt the rude folks. That is why practitioners hex folks. No respect for the privacy of others. And driving back home, so I'll be listening in. Definitely not texting with my little buddy in the car. You shouldn't text anyway. Do not text and drive. It interferes with your drinking. Anyway, follow us for more life hacks. But anyway, we had some great comments here just prior to your departure. And here we go. I am going to let's see. Let's see. So many great things here. Okay, and Jody McPhee was referring to those strips and the ones you did when it was like a day in the life of a younger John Celestri. For some reason, I never asked about them until now.
Oh. Wow. And the ones you did when it was like...
Is your mind blown, John?
I'm that younger. I'm trying to figure out. I have everything. Every strip that I tried out. I mean, I even go. Maybe he's looking at some of the older, the things that my mom saved when I was. I have some of my first drawings that I did when I was 5, 6, 7 years old, and she had marked it down. John Celestri, John, aged 6, and whatnot. So those are the kinds of things. Yeah, I did that, but. I don't think everybody would like that. I mean, but I did do a lot of small strips. I was always doing stuff. I mean, I go back to, when I was like, I tried to get a job at DC Comics when I was 10, 11 years old. I sent a whole bunch of stuff. I sent them drawings, and then they invited me over, and they gave me. It was the tour. And I had, it was that was like 1960, 1959, 1960.
Oh, wow.
And they still, they had the bullpen there at DC Comics. And when you're talking about that, you're seeing bound issues of Superman from the 40s. They had their office bound stuff. And then they had, they showed us around. And there was a crucial thing. My mom had taken me there. And one of the guys who was in the bullpen, and I found out from my mom, pulled her over and said, "Don't let your son get into this business." So roadblocks have been placed in front of me my entire life, but they did give me, and I don't know what happened to them, except for one that I have here. I had originals from their none of the Superman stuff, but they were like was it the Journey into Mystery? No, it was Tales of the Unexpected. There's space stuff and whatnot, and they were like full size. So I got to see the artwork, and they gave me 1 or 2 of them, and I don't know whatever happened to them, but I do have a panel, a strip, a Superman strip from 1960 or whatever. It was that time. And what was it? That was the artwork, or the artist who supplanted Wayne Boring as the Superman.
Did it Kurt Swan?
Kurt Swan. I have a Kurt Swan Superman daily.
Wow.
And it's like it's like 30 inches across and 5.5 inches high and whatnot. I've posted them several times, portions of it, on Facebook. So, but those are the kinds of things that inspired me, and so anyway, I can't remember which ones we're talking about, Joe, in terms of those strips. So you'll have to, message me later and just, refresh my memory because there's so many things, but I don't know which ones you're talking about. So
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. Willis Schuyler asks, is there a project you have been wanting to work on throughout your career, but haven't had it come to fruition?
yes, working with Brad Bird and Jerry Reese on the Spirit animated book, a feature that I was going to be on.
Ooh.
This is 1982, 83, and Brad and Jerry were working and developing. They'd gotten the information, the stuff from Will Eisner, working with him to create a Spirit animated feature. And that I had done that. I showed them my work from Rock and Rule with Cindy and Quad Hole and Mylar, and that's the kind of stuff that they wanted to do. So that's the strip. That's the feature I would have loved to have worked on.
Oh man,
that never happened because no money. The money people said there's no money in animation.
Oh man,
yeah,
wow, yeah, and yet some of the companies like Nelvana and stuff got snapped up by somebody else. So
well, eventually yes, Chorus bought it out. And that, but I was long gone. I had left in '83. I was one of the original Nelvana people from 1977, working on Cosmic Christmas, Devil and Daniel Mouse, Easter Fever, all those five. We were the rock and roll animation studio up in Canada, in Toronto. We were everybody. There's a great making of Devil and Daniel Mouse, one of the best. How an animation studio functions and what all the process is there, and you'll see everybody pretty much looked like they belonged as part of the Grateful Dead,
Yeah, you compare them to all those old Disney documentaries on the Wonderful World of Disney where everyone's wearing a suit and a tie at work.
Oh, yeah. No. These guys, everybody is long hair. I'm the shortest one. I have the shortest hair there with my mustache and whatnot. But they're all, it's all, rock and rollers,
That's great.
Yeah, so.
That is funny. Molly Daniel says, was scrolling through your IMDb page, Mr. Celestri, and was thrilled to learn The Trumpet of the Swan had finally been made into a movie. I love that book and often wondered when the movie be made. I watch it ASAP. I will watch it ASAP, and thank you for bringing one of my favorite books to life.
Oh, thank you. That's a long time ago, too.
And let's see. And Anthony Bavo, glad to have you here. Hi, Brian, and how are you, and how's everyone? Hello to Mr. Celestri. I love his mustache. It's awesome. Yeah, I can do that, too, but all it does is I wear a genie costume. And
yeah, I can't. Yeah, I can't do Bewitched.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, he doesn't have that Samantha Stevens vibe down yet.
No,
and Darren doesn't have that good a mustache. And Michaela J, this is bears repeating. That's great. Too many don't know their history, nor do they know how important it is. And Anthony was really struck by your comment about knowledge is evergreen. That's true. Knowledge does not. No one's stuff doesn't go out of style. And also don't forget that check out the Bloodwing Angel next phase of it on Indiegogo. You need to be there. I will be. You do too. And John, from the Desk of Small Press Publisher, John has helped me in a lot of my creative endeavors as he is adapting Bloodwing Angel from novella to comic. Love the exchange of ideas and conversation we had.
Great. Thank you, Joe.
Yeah, good to see that. And John has a Historical Fantasy Guild says John has a neat series of tutorials on his YouTube channel, and I didn't know just how broad his career really is. This is the learning place, Nick. That's why we have John here. So y'all can. That's why
I started putting out information
Uh-huh.
back when I did a blog, and I started that in 2010, 11, and there's a lot of printed material. It's not just YouTube. It was before YouTube.
Yeah.
So I had that up, and it's still going. It's still. I haven't really done very much with it, but there's a lot of material at the beginning
Mhm.
and of how to and what have you, and then that supplements the videos that I've done on my YouTube channel.
Well, maybe you need to put that together in a book one of these days, John.
Well, it is what it is.
Yeah. In your copious amounts of spare
Yes,
time, right?
yes, yeah. I have to. Listen. It's interesting, and this is that when at a certain point, your energy level is going to now. There's a few days difference between our ages, and
Yeah.
and I can only marshal up a certain amount of energy to do certain things and just be as bright and cheerful as I am.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I'm finding that out. I'm telling you, once you pass that Medicaid age,
Mhm,
you
mhm, mhm,
start becoming quite aware of your limitations. So,
mhm.
oh, well, so I try to ignore them. And this is good. I think you'll appreciate this from Glenn B. Fleming, who still does hand lettering on
Yep.
his hatch strip. Hand lettering forces a person to be aware of placement of the balloons and captions, and it forces the scripter to employ word economy.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, it's a good thing for everyone. And I was also mentioning how a writer, or not writer, but a letterer can also help the reader guide the eye.
Mhm.
Just in the way a good storytelling artist can do.
Right.
So Glenn B. Fleming says, when I launch my world dominating comics company, all art will need lettering right on the board.
Mm.
Generalissimo Fleming has spoken.
It's
So anyway, let's see. And then we got to talking about ghosts, and we're going to skip past that again. And let's see. Oh, we got more comments, and rooting for ghosts. And here we go. And lurker mode is disengaged for Cindy Kemp. And you can find more about John Celestri at that IMDb page there. Thank you. And don't forget CKOEPP.com for the best newsletter in the industry. I just got mine, and I'm going to treat myself to reading it today. And let's see. And Sarah, I'll talk to you more later. Time to go to my point. Mwah, Sarah, have
Mhm.
a good day. We will talk to you later. And here we go. And Molly Daniels GPS took her to I-70, caught a stop train and detoured rather, stop and go traffic on I-70 for 10 minutes, heavy traffic on 465, and then hit stop and go traffic again after my old little turn off at a little point. I was telling everyone how while you were gone, how at the show I decided I wasn't going to get stuck in an hour-long traffic jam again,
Okay. Yeah.
which we passed another one in the exact same spot as we were going. We actually managed to get from Southwest Ohio back to Lafayette, Indiana without traveling on the interstate.
Oh, well, good. Good for you.
It was an adventure, and you get to see a lot of different things, a lot of the country that you don't normally see from the super highways.
Well,
It was a lot of fun.
if you're going off of the highway, you're going through how people probably traveled,
Yeah.
before the interstates
Oh yeah.
were done.
Yeah. I still remember we used to vacation when I was still in grade school, early grade school. We lived in East Central Illinois near Danville, Illinois, and we would travel down I-40 to
Mhm.
get to Virginia, where now I-70 takes you there, but we learned about 20 years ago, my wife and I, we were going down to Florida to Kissimmee to see, the Disney stuff and all
Mhm.
the parks down there. And we got bored seeing all those pine trees on I-75. And so we
Mhm.
stopped off for lunch, and we looked at a map and realized that we were on the old state route that the
Right.
interstate ran
Yes.
parallel to.
Yeah.
And suddenly it was like all these wonderful little restaurants, these delightful little shops, or the architecture as
Mhm.
you go from city to city. And
Mhm.
from that point on, if we have to get there fast, we'll take the interstate. But
Right.
if we've got the time, we take the back roads. And
Mhm.
that's where you see the real America.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Right.
Yeah, so let's see. Here we go. Rick Bradley says, before I start driving through, hello, John and Bloodwing Angel was awesome. Can't wait for the next issue.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Rick.
Yeah. And even 41 had one lane traffic between Terre Haute and Sullivan. Well, Terre Haute and Sullivan, that used to be the trip that, or actually, Sullivan and Vincennes used to steal your soul because there was nothing there. Nothing whatsoever. Just, and if you went through in the fall, it was all gray and brown. Yeah, it was just like you're speeding simply to get through it, you know.
It's kind of purgatory, huh?
Sorry?
It's purgatory.
Yeah, it's purgatory without any of the fun elements of it, you know. So it's like, yeah, if there's any fun to be had, this trip didn't have it. It's better now. It's better now.
Okay.
They've done some development. So, and John asked the Historical Fencing Guild, Nicholas Tucker, check him out on Amazon. Yeah. How do you maintain the mental flexibility to adapt to changes in technology?
Are you saying I'm old?
No, he's saying I'm old.
No.
It's an indirect saying, Brian, you're elderly. How did you move from cave paintings to broadcasting, sort of thing? So, no, we were talking about that before the show. You know, you started out hand drawing, and still, even with a computer, it is still
hand drawing.
But
the flexibility, the thing is to understand what is really important to be able to create. What is the essence of what you're trying to create? Maintain those tools so that you can keep it going. Use technology to make the production easier. That's the difference. Now, what we were talking about, what Brian and I were talking about, was that I don't like the lag time between my putting a line in and a line appears. It is not a one-to-one. It's maybe, I would say, in an animation talk, 2 frames. It's a 2-frame delay, which is a 1/12 of a second delay. I can spot a frame that's out of place in film running 24 frames per second. So it irritates me because I'm going like this and this and this. And what's happening is I'm going too fast for the pencil. Now, technology wants to go to like that. I'm going like this here, faster. That means that I have to go back. I have to check what I've done. When I'm making the next line, I have to maintain and in my peripheral vision to say, okay, it's working. But if it doesn't work, then I have to go back and change it. Yeah. And that frustrates me to no end because I'm getting out of the zone. So technology keeps you out of the zone with a hand that's directly. I mean, when I think about something, I'm feeling it all the way through and it's coming out there. I don't want it to be. I don't want anything to break the flow. If that means it's understandable to you.
It makes perfect sense. It really does. You know, because in writing, I get the same thing. You know, you'd be typing, and it used to be you hit the key, it strikes the paper. Right. There's the image. But you know, sometimes if your computer is lagging or whatever, you know, you keep typing, and if you're in the zone, you don't think about, oh wait, it hasn't shown up on the screen yet.
Yeah.
So
I have a royal. I have a royal, 1947, thing. I got it and I use it to type out my scripts. You know, I write everything in pencil, with Post-it notes and slapping them on. Yeah.
It's my favorite way. I love these old machines.
Oh yeah, well that one is for a short story.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I write mini comics with this.
Yeah,
one. Yeah. No, but it brings up an interesting point, though. You know, you see a lot of newer artists, say artists in the last 30 years, who, you and I grew up back in the days of the Jack Kirbys and the John Buscema's, right. Guys who were just like lightning fast because they had to be. Yeah. Older animators had to go at a fast pace, especially if they worked for somebody like a Disney or a Warner Brothers, where content was constantly being pushed out.
Yes. Well, Hanna-Barbera, that's the place that
And
really
Hanna-Barbera.
Disney. They what you wound up doing was redoing stuff over and over and over again because they were looking for a certain style, a certain thing to work with it. At the Patty Freeling, which is where I had a stint there on Mr. Magoo's
Oh
and
yeah.
Baggy Pants and the Nitwits and things
Oh
of that sort.
wow. Nice.
Yeah,
I haven't heard
I
that in
worked.
ages.
Yeah, I worked on those things, and then the element of cranking it out there wasn't so much because they really it was the old Warner Brothers crew that were at the Patty Freeling,
Right.
so that's what we I was there for a period of time and then went to Nelvana.
Uh-huh.
But anyway, you still had to crank out at a like 40 seconds of film every week. Now that may not seem like much. It's people who are used to doing all that stuff, but when you're talking about planning and doing all this stuff, and it was the drawing, you had to plan things out so that you had your money shots, you had your reuse, and then you had your free stuff. So there was a blend back and forth. You planned for that, and that's we can keep on going to changes of flexibility in technology. Don't keep everything. There's no breathing in today's art. Everything is breathless. There's no ebb and flow. You need to be able to say, what's my pacing? Otherwise, you have no way to build things up. If everything is constantly going at you at a fast pace, there's no impression anymore. It's all hectic. And so, to me, the changes in technology is sometimes the challenge is to understand what's useful and what's just change for the sake of change, or what they're giving you for you to maintain an adrenaline rush. That's what we're all, everybody's being fed that so that you're more and more in need of seeing stimulation, and that's basically what, eyeballs are, keep you on that page. Don't go away from there. And at some point you have to break away from it. So how do I maintain mental flexibility? I am curious. I am intellectually curious about things. I don't just follow the same. If I see the same article cut and paste 4, 5, 6 times on the internet, I know that I'm not going to get much more than that. I need to know more. I need to go to a different source. And you have to dig. You can't, and also keep looking because you'll dig and dig and dig, and don't stop at the first at the top 5 Google pages. Go all the way down till there's nothing left to find. That's
very good.
That's how I do. Okay, there you go.
Very good advice. No, that's very good advice. And you talked earlier about not knowing history. I will say that one of the influences for me as a writer in terms of pacing, Alfred Hitchcock.
But he's an artist. He storyboarded everything before he did. He knew it. He says, I've done the film in here.
Yeah.
And the rest is just, okay, I'm just going to do it. I know what every shot's going to be. I don't have to do 10 takes or 10 different things and then try and work it into into film. You know what it is.
Yeah, and he also was a master at building up to a climax and then diffusing it with like humor or going into a quieter moment to give the audience a breather, and then he builds it back up again. You see it in the Bond films. I rewatched The Wrath of Khan recently,
Okay.
And there was this one sequence where Kirk is planetside, and you think he's really screwed. Khan's got, all the advantage on him, and all it, and it's a lot of good characterization getting going on.
Yeah.
But it's really just Kirk waiting for all the pieces that he has set up to fall into place. And now he's launching the attack, and he announces, I don't like to lose, and we're off to the big space battle. So,
Right.
it's, and also Star Wars,
Yeah.
you go back and look at the pacing of a lot of the movies that we've enjoyed, and you have the quiet moments that build up to the next level.
Mhm.
And a lot of, contemporary comic book writers / artists don't understand that. Like you said, it's all like bam, bam, bam. And instead of like having a quiet moment between rounds, you just go bam, 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 louder and harder. So,
Right. Yeah. And it's not just the physical action, it's the
Right.
color.
Yeah.
It's the color. And I mean, this is not old man talk. This is basic understanding of how to control a reader's eye.
Yes.
There is so much line work, so much various, color. Simple. Cut it back. If you don't have a good story, all you're doing is just throwing all kinds of confetti and whatnot, and then there is no cake there. It's just icing, which is
Yes.
great, but after a certain point, just eating icing can make you sick.
Exactly.
Have the cake. Have something there. And as I said, the old day, they are all sizzle and no steak. So,
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Totally agree. And the Historical Fencing Guild continues. And following, how do you feel about the shifting styles of animation and content? Bloodwing Angel has a very, though adult, almost Tex Avery feel. How do you stay relevant? That's a great question. Or do you even worry about it? Or you just do you want to tell your story?
No. At this stage of the game, I'm not worried about trying to make Bloodwing Angel a commercial success. What I want is it to be an artistic success and something that people can go to years from now, because I'm talking about universal elements that all human beings deal with: betrayal, trust, faith, self-reliance, where am I, what's going on? Those are elements that every generation has to deal with as it is. Now, some people say, I don't like that art style. Well, you know what? People say, well, how do you get to be that way? Well, I'm drawing this is the way I am. This is my style of art. And that you almost Tex Avery feel. Well, basically, it's the animation. It's an animated. There is a lot of squash and stretch. There's a plasticity that I have in my drawing because of my animation career, and my influences have always been. I'm not an illustrator. I am a cartoonist, and a cartoonist draws about not just emotion but impression. I'm not trying to literally capture something, I'm not trying to do a literal interpretation of it, or even a realistic one.
Right.
I am bending the rules, but the rules are there to be bent, but I'm not going to break them, because that's you're then you're breaking the trust that you've built up with your audience, saying, okay, these are the rules. Let me see if I can make you. I can surprise you, and so on and so forth, and entertain you with those rules. So,
yeah. Well, it's almost like the same thing with music. A guitar has 6 strings, X number of places you can put the your fingers and all, and there's only X number of combinations, but there is a huge difference between me picking up a guitar and struggling with it and a George Harrison or an Eric Clapton. That there is a mastery within those limits, and it's how you apply how far you can go up against the borders of your art form. and still have a great, but still tell that story in the most effective way possible.
We all have the equivalent of salt, fat, and sugar as our elements within, to create something that is pleasurable to the taste, your creative taste or what have you.
Right.
And it's the touch of the chef that makes the meal. And in this case, you have all the elements of what is entertaining and how to make a surprise and whatnot and pacing. But if you as an artist, as a writer, don't understand those rules, everything you're going to do is just going to be, you're just going to be copying somebody else. And after a certain point, it's just a bad copy of a bad copy of a bad copy.
Exactly. And Cindy's got a group of great promotions here. Let's see. Here we go. She's been busy while we've been talking. Wow. Let's see. Fun fact. Molly Daniels says, fun fact. In 1983, if you drove State Route 36 from Indianapolis to Denver, Colorado, there was a Best Western and Pizza Hut in every town. On I-24 between Interstate 69 and Interstate 57, there are 5 Casey's General Stores. I found that out myself. There's information that'll get you through your day. But anyway, please check out the promotions that Cindy Kep so gracefully put up there, and to keep the flow of this story going. Also, check her out at the Dubuque Comic and Toy Show, the return of QuadCon 5 on October 3rd. She'll have huge dragons, books, and vintage comic books, including the first appearance of Uncle Scrooge. Oh, yeah. And Molly Daniels was in Cone Zone Hell for the trip home, then arrived in Purgatory, but it was heaven to finally be at home. Ace Bonnie says, what do you call it when you walk into a cafe before that you've been to? Deja Brew. Okay, there we go. Thank you, Ace. And then coming to on October 30th, the Halloween Comic and Toy Show, QuadCon Des Moines. Check her out. She's got stuff in the Historical Fencing Guild every Friday night at 8. Check him out as well. And Comic-Related Madness. Pops Van Zandt, we love you. And Hybrids, Luke Stone Studios, and More Powerful Stories, Bear Publications. Yeah, Cindy Kep has just written her very first comic book based on her latest novel, Animal Eye, and it's awesome. And speaking of an awesome book, there's Zombiful World of Oz, Memoirs of an Angel, Browncoats in Kentucky, Stormgate Press, and Donna Carleen. What do you have when you drink all your coffee an empty cup? Oh, wait, that's not a joke. Hold on. And all kinds of good stuff. And we're going to get through it. And Glenn B. Fleming says, Hitchcock was the master of suspense. People could do worse than study his work very closely. And that's the thing, we talk about, we were talking, you and I, about learning what other people do and taking the lessons they have to give. Like I said, one of the best books on writing comics was Drawing Comics the Marvel Way by Stan Lee and John Buscema, because it made me understand what the artist needed to do and how to tell the story visually, and to basically, this sounds horrible, but pushing the burden of the storytelling onto the artist.
But the thing is that the artist should be inspired by the work, by the concept of what they're doing. If you can understand when you're typing something that it's the same thing in animation. You get a script from somebody who only understands words. Well, through that's different. But simple is best. If you don't need to say it, don't. That's the thing.
That's it. That is true. And Molly Daniels says the same with romance books. There has to be a plot and a good story, not just two people who can't keep their hands off of each other. Well, it's like I tell people when somebody wants to tell me their comic book or their book concept, I tell them elevator pitch. Give it to me in an elevator pitch. And they're like, oh no, it expands across 28,000 galaxies and all this. And I'm like, if you can't, it's going to take you 30. If it takes you 30 seconds to sell me on your story, talking to me for a minute isn't going to help you. I want it simple. I want to know the essence of the story and whether you have a story there.
People don't understand. There's a difference between what the plot is and what it's all about.
Exactly.
And what it's all about is Star Wars, at least episode 2. Well, I say episode 2. It is The Empire Strikes Back. I
Right.
think that is the best episode of the whole of the 3 of the
Agreed.
I say the 3.
Yeah, I know it's tough. We saw it the first time. Thank you, sweetie. We saw it the first time when it came out in the theaters, and to us, it's episode 2.
Yes, that's right. Yeah,
And then
yeah.
they pushed 3 more in front of it. So
Yeah, so that's a whole different thing. But I think that was the best one because it was very Shakespearean.
Mm-hmm.
And it had all of the elements, the battle between father and son. But the son didn't understand what was going on. And then you have this whole thing, but whatever it is, there is, anyway, never mind.
No. You raised a good point. In fact, I was reading a book on writing comics recently, and he explained just that difference, that the plot is the bare bones action that is occurring to create the changes that come to the characters, but the story is truly about the characters.
Yeah, it's what it's what is it? What do they want? What are they looking for?
Yeah.
And if they don't have to know, it's the MacGuffin, as Hitchcock used to say.
Yes.
What are they looking for? It could be a bar of soap or a Maltese Falcon, but it's the chase. They're searching for something, and you don't have to be specific about that something. It's just the goal. It's the same thing as Jason, looking for the golden fleece. It's the whole element of that.
Yeah.
So anyway, but you have to understand classic storytelling. That's what makes it relevant.
Yeah. Well, and that's the reason why we're still reading things by William Shakespeare from 500 years ago. It's why we're still reading things by Herman Melville and Charles Dickens. Yeah. The plot of Christmas Carol is 3 ghosts visit Scrooge and help him reform. But the story is about Scrooge's transformation.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
And the payoff is when he becomes a decent human being at the end.
There you go.
Yeah, so well explained, sir. Well explained. Molly Daniels, or any book for that matter. Dan Brown's books always leave me wondering when the poor hero has time to eat / sleep / take care of bodily functions. Well, there's a thing called TMI. There's a little too much information about something. Tell me what he's had to eat, but past that, I'm good. Well, it's like the series 24 with Kiefer Sutherland. It lost me in the 2nd season because there was a section where he's like, it's supposed to be taking place in real time, and he gets across LA in like 5 minutes. You can't get across LA or Chicago or New York, even if you're shot out of a cannon.
Yeah.
So that kind of lost me at that point.
The producers, the showrunner, lost the whole essence of
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Or otherwise 24 would be a lot of this, like checking his watch and tapping his foot, waiting for other people to do their jobs. And Rick Bradley misses Pizza Huts with jukeboxes and the table arcade Pac-Man game. And why did they stop book it? I'll never understand. And an empty coffee cup, that's a good basis for a horror story on it, Donna. That's why Cookie came by while John was talking. Anyway, this is a fascinating deep dive, says the Historical Fantasy Guild. Thank you so much for all the wisdom. I have done limited animation and stop motion effects, so I appreciate the commentary on timing. And timing is, here's an old joke I learned years ago, and I think it's almost profound. John, ask me what the secret of comedy is.
What is the secret?
Timing. See?
Ba-dum-bum,
Yeah.
Vaudeville still works. Benny, Burl, Danny Thomas, all those people know timing because you're doing it in front of people. And if you don't have timing, there's nothing that will save you. It's all there. And if you look at the old movies, you'll see the amount of timing, long shots. You can see that one is some long 1930s, 1940s shots are kind of boring because they're all perfunctory performances, whereas you have some of the with the greats. Cary Grant can just it'll steal a scene. All he's got to do is lift an eyebrow alongside, and you watch the reaction. Just see all this stuff going on, so that it's not just cutting from shot to face to long. The timing is that, and there's a difference between character timing and action timing.
Yes.
So,
oh no, and how many times growing up did we watch Who's on First?
yeah, oh yeah,
and
it's great. It's wonderful.
It's my favorite comedy routine ever, and it's all there: the build up, the timing, the reaction, and the more they do it, the better and better it gets. You compare it to like the first time they do it on screen to the time when they were doing it on their TV show.
Yes, yeah.
Oh my God, by the time they're on TV, it is almost, you know what's coming, you know all the jokes, but it just gets better and better.
And people come back for the character.
Exactly.
That's why you can watch those Costello things. You can watch Abbott and Costello TV. You can watch the Maltese Falcon. You can watch, Casablanca.
Yeah.
You can watch there's so much there, and with all these other stuff, and TV shows, you come back for the character. And a case in point is Ted Lasso.
I've not seen it, but I'm hearing all kinds of amazing things about it. I know it swept the Emmys.
If you haven't, I mean, the only reason I know about it and being able to watch it because we bought a new iPhone a couple of months ago, and we got free, Apple TV with it, So I said, okay, so that's why, and it's really good character stuff. 32 minutes of nonstop, and every character is different and believable, and you don't know where it's going. That's the thing about it. But you come back to see them. So the same way with all your what you enjoy on TV and whatnot, you're coming back for the character. Even in ancient and old things like the mothership NCIS, you're still coming back for Jethro Gibbs and all the other characters that are in there. So anyway,
exactly. And Grant Lanker says it's weird to me and kind of sad that I don't get to watch every episode of Nevermind the Furthermore anymore. I'm just too busy. Well, you can multitask and watch us while you work, and we're also tasty in the reruns. So make sure you subscribe so you make sure, and you'll get to see my brand new show, BK Minutes, starting October 1st. So anyway, when giving an elevator pitch, says Rick Bradley, just kiss. Keep it simple, stupid. Yeah, seriously. And here we go. Just shot past. And Carl Wisman's good problem to have. Yes. And amen. Rick says Molly Daniels, Glenn Fleming. All this talk about the old stuff is correct. Those old things are good because people knew how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. And people are trying to reinvent the wheel. No need to learn from the masters. Get that Ames lettering guide out along with your art board and pencils. Make some real art. Yeah. Well, it's like we were saying, it's like computers are a tool.
Yes.
And I've seen some people who adapt to it easily and are very prolific with it. But there is nothing at all wrong with, like I said earlier, a table, a piece of paper, a pen, pencil, and some ink, and it, of course, you don't need an eraser. Anyway, because it's right the first time. Rick Bradley says, a friend and I performed Who's on First at a local USO type show, and we actually had a director try and tell us to slow down the skit. I'm like, have you ever watched it? Obviously not. We did a lot like Abbott and Costello, and people loved it. It was a blast to do. Again, and you talk about reactions. Jack Benny. The old joke, your money or your life.
Right. I'm thinking.
Yeah. See, and you notice the stuff like that survives.
Yes.
It's classic for a reason. Historical Fencing Girl said, yes, Jack Benny defined comedy. Inversely, I am rewatching The Dark Shadows. And I think he was referring to the original soap opera
Yeah.
and loving the pacing and oppression. You don't find that in modern film which rushes. Well, look at the history of the afternoon soap operas continued from the radios.
Mhm.
Distinct personalities, interesting storylines, and
Mhm.
you get invested in the characters. How many times do people talk about my soaps?
Mhm.
I've got to watch my soaps. You know, you become proprietary towards these characters.
Mhm.
And why don't robots like apples? Ask Ace Bunny. They're androids. There we go. That's probably a Mac humor or something. So
Oh,
anyway,
yeah. I got it.
okay, yeah, I got it. Okay, and multitask. I am playing a new Big Stumpy Robots short for my art channel while learning. Well, and just run us in the background. We're tasty that way too. And please, if we've got maybe a minute or two left, if you have a question for this wonderful person next to me, John Celestri, please bring it forward. And if not, John, it's a pleasure having you here, my friend.
Thank you. It was a pleasure being here. It's good talking to somebody.
Yeah, we do so much of what we do in solitude.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
when you're if you don't have anybody bouncing off, you need to know what to do, because otherwise you're just thinking you're thinking about what the next thing you're going to say, and not react to somebody else's stimulation. And so that's the back and forth that really works. But so
Well, I'm grateful for it, believe me, and I'm grateful that you spent your time with us. And I'd be grateful, folks, if you check out this Indiegogo campaign down here, because it is Bloodwing Angel. The first book was incredible. Honestly, I backed it, and I'm glad I did. I'm going to be back for the sequel and any sequels that John does, because he is such a great talent and such a great human being. And as always, it's a pleasure to have you here. And I think we got some more comments here. Grant Langer says, thank you for the talk. I didn't comment much, but that doesn't mean I wasn't listening. And I hope you picked something up from this, Grant. We all have something to learn from John and other guys who have trod the path before us. So I'm glad you're here, Grant. Always glad you're here. And I'll tell you what, John, I'm going to give you the spotlight one more time. Why don't you tell everyone, talk up Bloodwing Angel Part 2 rapidly, and then tell everybody how they can follow you and all the amazing things you do.
Okay. In book 2 of Bloodwing Angel Chronicles, I've got episodes 3 and 4, and I've tied together not tied. I've introduced all the characters in book 1, which had episodes 1 and 2. I now am now bringing them, starting to put them together, and you'll see how they come together in a totally believable way. I also, as a part of in book 2, I have a standalone 7-pager of the 1717 Club, and those are it's a standalone, but it's about characters who are in the neighborhood where Michael, the Bloodwing Angel, is going to wind up becoming, intimately involved with. And these are, let's put it this way, it's like a cross between the movie From Dusk Till Dawn blended with The Sopranos. And so that's a standalone, story. So it's the 52-page book, and we'll have that. And I'm hoping to get to launch the actual campaign, towards the end of October, and so the books and what I will be giving. I'm figuring out one of the several of the perks will have original artwork, the thumbnail pages, the full the 8.5 by 11 sheets that I'm doing, and that'll be part of the limited perks, because I only have so many that I think would really work, so that I can give the upper range of in the $100 or $120 with everything, including the 2 books and a pin, the Blood Angel pin. So
Excellent.
and that's about what I got right now. Oh, and then you can find me. You see, at Celestri, John. That's my about my Twitter handle right here. Wait. Yeah,
There you go. It takes a while, John. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So you can that's the best place to get me, because you don't have to be a friend on Facebook for that.
There you
So
go. And also your YouTube channel.
my YouTube channel is John Celestri, and you'll get. I think I've reached a point of maybe about what 15 videos, 15, 20 videos there, and I'm doing for a period of time, an afternoon 3 p.m. show where for about a half hour to maybe an hour, where you look over my shoulder and you'll watch me draw the page, one of the pages. And I'm in production. I'll take questions, but I'll just show you as I'm drawing how I draw with my stylus pencil, which I still think is a laggard, but I explain why I'm using it. So
There you go. There you go. And Nick, you could ask him your question there about what you wish folks didn't think about animation and art. You want to answer that real quickly, John?
Okay. Let's see.
Let me find it. Let me find it here.
Yeah.
John, what do you wish folks didn't think about animation and art?
That is only to sell toys.
Yeah. Yeah. That's excellent.
Yeah.
That's excellent. Yeah. And having worked on Masters of the Universe, you know all about
I know
that.
And strawberry shortcake.
And strawberry shortcake, yeah. And
yes, there you go.
Virtually the entire decade of the 80s. So anyway, that was fantastic. And speaking of fantastic, thank you, John Celestri, for being here. I appreciate you all as always, and hope we can do this again sometime.
Oh yes. Anytime, that'd be great. Thank you. I'm not doing my show this afternoon because I only have so much energy, and I got to get some work done.
That's true. He hasn't had enough coffee yet, but that's a fixable thing. John, hang around so I can say goodbye to you, and we're going to sign off the show here. But anyway, I'm taking over the screen here, and again, thank you, John Celestri, for being here. Please check out what this man does. He is incredible. Please support that Indiegogo campaign when it comes up, because trust me, you're going to be glad you did. And speaking of glad that they did, I'm glad that Plasma Fire Graphics sponsored this episode. Hope you are too. Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you. If you want to make your book cover look like one of the big publishers did it, then you need to contact Plasma Fire Graphics. Check out their Facebook page. Check out their webpage at plasmafiregraphics.com. You can also inquire about rates there. Très affordable, as the French would say. Anyway, check them out. It's Plasma Fire Graphics. When the look of your book matters to you, because it sure as heck matters to your readers. And speaking of my readers and people that matter, here are my Patreon supporters. Patreon is a monthly subscription service where you can deliver a small monthly stipend to your favorite creators to inspire them and help them continue their mission. And these folks are helping keep the show and the Rising Tide mission going. And as a result, they get stuff like looks at works in progress, an exclusive blog by me, and they get mentioned on all of my shows. So if you would like to see your name on this card, go to www.patreon.com/Brian K. Morris and check out what we have to offer you, and appreciate your looking at that. Also, check out the Rising Tide Broadcast Network. We have a Facebook page. Please give it a like and follow the shows. Like I said, you've probably seen Michaela's morning motivationals this morning at 7, then this show, and then tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern, you get to see Michaela Jade back on Tidbits and Scribbles, where she tells you how to level up in your creative game, maybe make it a full-time thing. You never know. And then tomorrow morning, we've got TED Talks at 10 a.m. with Ted Davies, who's always fascinating. And then tomorrow night will be Clever Tile Painting, a very special episode that we hope you'll join us to watch. It will be groundbreaking. And we will be back Wednesday morning with another Nevermind the Furthermore. And please don't forget, we have the YouTube challenge. If we can get 1,100 subscribers by the end of Halloween night, we will do a special 12-hour Nevermind the Furthermore with guests and giveaways and all kinds of cool stuff. So please share, like, let your friends know about us and encourage them to sign up as a subscriber, because it would be a totally neat thing to do. And so anyway, folks, as we close out this show, we want to thank you for being so great with your questions to John Celestri. Support Bloodwing Angel, episodes 3 and 4. You'll be glad you did. Trust me, you'll thank me later. And enjoy the rest of your Monday. Hope you got some great things planned. Hope you plan to take over the world. Same thing we do every night. And be kind to each other, all right? Because that's the thing to do. Anyway, folks, thank you for being here on the Monday, September 27th, 2021 episode of Nevermind the Furthermore. And as always, stay smart, stay safe, wash your hands, and never apologize for being awesome. Have a great week, everyone, and we'll see you tomorrow night in Clever Title Pending, and also Wednesday morning on Nevermind the Furthermore. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you for watching Nevermind the Furthermore, a Rising Tide Broadcast Network production. If you enjoyed any part of this show, please give it a like or a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Also, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and consider becoming one of our Patreon supporters. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time on Nevermind the Furthermore.
Hey, yo, Pops here. Are you looking to be on Monday Madness? Is Monday no good? You need a special edition? Are you looking to be on the first timer spotlight on for you new guys? Launch parties, countdowns, CromCon Monthly. We got it all right here at the Madness Comic Network, providing online promotional services for the indie comic community and proud sponsor of
Comic Books for Kids provides comic books to kids in hospitals and cancer centers across the U.S. It's a place where we can all work together to make sure every child has a comic book. 100% of all proceeds go towards the kids. It's about making a difference, and while they're in the hospital, allowing them to fly like a superhero, battle dragons, or rescue teddy bears. We are in every state in the country and now support over 160 hospitals. Every month, we add more.
Visit cb4k.org.